What's up, guys? Welcome to the episode 7 podcast reaction video of Through Macumba's Eye. I am doing it solo this time, and we're gonna see how it goes. But that season finale, man, that was fantastic. So I had to make a video, even if we skipped a bunch of them in between episodes, 1, 2, and 3, and now. Just because of, conflicts in school and everything. But, that episode was so good. I wanted to do a little talk about it, That, and I'm not tired, and I don't want to do my homework, my reading assignment thing, so. Anyway, I am doing this live on Twitch right now, so if it sounds like I'm talking to anyone random, I am just picking up questions or conversation from chat. I doubt it. It's late, but you never know. So if you're from YouTube and you're listening to this and there's some random stoppage and I, divert from a topic, that is why. Also, I'm going to be reading off and, giving my insight and reactions from a Game of Thrones recap of episode thing. So every once in a while I might be silent, kind of reading and saying, oh, I remember, let me talk about that. So, let me start off with some awkward silence so I can read this very, very briefly. We begin, for the last time this year, at King's Landing. I'll kind of read some of the little blurbs that they put in here. I don't know who the artist or the author is, but let me find it. I'll give him some credit here. I don't know, but whoever wrote the entertainment article on Game of Thrones, The Dragon and the Wolf, James Hibbard. James Hibbard, hopefully you don't care, I'm reading your information. But here we go. At the enemy gates, Dany's Unsullied and Dothraki armies represent order and chaos, so she marches out her two, big fighting units right at King's Landing's front gate to stare at them, and the whole intimidation factor. Pretty cool scene. They didn't really bounce around. They just went right into the tension. This was a very, very tense episode with lots of good reunions and all that jazz. But so you have everyone walking in, meeting up to go to the Dragon Pit, the decaying Dragon Pit, to have this meeting, which. Fantastic place to hold a meeting, if you ask me, with, dragons being relevant again. And of course you have some great reunions right off the bat with the Hound and Brienne. That stare, they gave each other right when the two armies, or, the two little groups meet at the crossroad. My goodness. That was a good one. Good reaction. I thought there was going to be some hostility, but both characters have seemed to have kind of, cooled off from that situation. So everything was nice and civil, but still, they had it was interesting to see him ask about, Arya and her safety, he still is caring for her even after she left him to die with his, leg injury. Another good one was Podrick and Tyrion and Bronn, that little trio. Always for some good laughs, and thought they were going to take a lot more humorous approach, but I loved what we got. It was a nice, serious, with a couple jokes here and there, and at the end you just hear Tyrion, I'm glad to see you, so that's some good stuff right there. This episode was very heavy on reunions, and I think they did most of them justice. They did a lot of good work there. So yeah, reunion, the mountain. They enter the massive dragon pit, which was once an area the Targaryens used to house the dragons. It mentions the area in Spain. Not important. The armor that the Queen's Guard runs in with, man, that stuff is cool. The stuff the mountains decked out in. That's some good stuff. I thought right off the bat we were gonna get the Clegane Bowl. I was hoping and praying that this was the episode. We got the freaking Clegane Bowl. We've wanted it for like 5 seasons. The hype was built up. This was the episode the Clegane Bowl could have happened, and it didn't. That being said, I do like that he just approached him and he says, "Do you remember me?" And they have that little standoff and that. This episode did a lot of good work with like tension and, miscommunication. Like someone could say something. I don't even know why I have a headphone in. It doesn't make much sense. But they could have. Well, I know the mountain doesn't talk, but there could be a lot of conversations that weren't had in this episode. But like the stares people gave each other, and the general looks and body language, it made it. You could feel the tension in a lot of the characters. So that was good. That was good stuff. Let me read here a little bit. So Cersei comes in. Tyrion. Well, first Euron interrupts Tyrion right when he starts, and tells Theon, "Yo, I got your sister, and she's gonna die if you don't bend the knee right here in front of everybody." And it kind of was out of nowhere and weirdly timed, but it shows just what type of character he is, and I think that was pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of Theon this episode in general. Didn't do that, and he stuck up for himself, He slowly redeems himself, and then he falls, and then he redeems himself, and then he falls. But right now he's on a high note, He did well this episode. So basically, you have the bitch fight where Cersei wants, them to swear loyalty to her, but that's not going to happen. Jon, after they show the White Walker, or the White, not the White Walker, the White, he re-ups his allegiance to Dany, to his queen. Sorry for that little impersonation. I try to impersonate a lot of people from the show, and it doesn't really work. Oh, we got an auto host. Thank you very much. Everyone from, what does that say? Oh, I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm so sorry. Elosinardisac. Wow, I did not do that well. But if anyone's from there, welcome. Feel free to chat in the chat. Chat in the chat. That doesn't make sense, but you know what to do. So yeah, you have the butting of heads initially. Tyrion tries to, mediate the entire argument, saying, "Yo, let's put this on hold and get this going." There's always going to be fighting in the world. Let's put everything aside while we fight the common enemy before we go attacking each other. And initially she says, yes, that works. Bend the knee. Jon refuses, so they're, that's bad news. The White does its job well. It scares the hell out of Cersei, and it gets real close to her. And then the Hound yanks it back, cuts it in half. Jon says we can burn them with fire, and he burns the severed limb, the hand, which Maester, I don't know if he's Maester or if he's just Qyburn, took a great interest in. So he's going to be doing some scheming, I'm sure, next season. And then he takes his dragonglass dagger that looks freshly forged and stabs it. And then you have Euron get up, and he's like, can these things swim? And Jon gives him his stone, "No, they cannot," or whatever he says, I don't know. And so Euron says, "I'm going to take my ships and my men, and we're going back to the Iron Islands," which at the time you are led to believe that he is sincere, and he's taking everyone in his ships, and they're going back to wait out whatever is going to play out, as he advises Dany to do too with her ships and armies and 2 dragons. Also, side note, that entrance, that was pretty hype. I think it was one super intimidation factor, like, I got dragons, let's come in on them, tell them, show them what you're gonna potentially deal with here. And then you got 2, I think it was incredibly stupid, because you show 2 dragons. It would have made much more sense to either not use them at all, or just come in on Drogon, because you show that you only have 2, which gives strong indication that the 3rd one is elsewhere, either dead or, plotting a scheme behind the back of the meeting. But yeah, a lot of tension there, so I'm trying to think of what else comes up from that little meeting there. Yeah, basically, that's pretty much what happened. They were the butting heads, and so once Jon says he's loyal to Dany, she gets up and leaves, and everyone's like, well, shit, Jon, you just goofed us, man. I mean, we're proud of you for staying loyal and, being an honorable man in front of everyone, which, like, we all know that's who Jon is now, just like his father. But Tyrion's like, do you not know how to lie? You could have easily gotten us, in with the other queen, nice and safe for the time being. But you didn't, and that's bad, We don't want to fight 2 wars while we have one main war to fight. And so Tyrion's like, we can leave. We can prepare our own thing. We're gonna have to do this the bad way, the way we don't want to. Or I could go talk to her by myself. And everyone acknowledges the risks, and he's like, oh, well, it may be our only chance. So he goes, and he decides to talk to her, which is the smart move, or so everyone thinks. He goes in there, and throughout the show you can tell he or throughout the first 2 seasons, I suppose, or 2 or 3, you can tell he has a good relationship with Myrcella and Tommen. There was no, he wasn't faking loving them as his niece and nephew. Not so much Joffrey. Joffrey was a bit of a not so good, as you know. But yeah, so he uses that. He says, I'm sorry. I am sorry for everything. We need to come together to fight this common enemy. She says, oh, you're not trusting. You want our family to die. You sided with the foreign invader and the king in the north. Yeah, so sorry, I'm spacing out a little bit. But anywho, Tyrion being the my page just left. That is not good. My recap page left. Oh well. So Tyrion resorts to what he does best, and in a nervous situation where emotions are flaring, she accuses him. I should have you killed right now. You killed our father and our mother, and played a huge part in, 2 out of 3 of my children. So he hits the wine, pours himself one, immediately downs it, puts it down, pours one for Cersei, which is interesting because everything was it seemed super chill then, everything's fine. We can talk like we used to when we were for the same family, maybe not the same side, but the same family. And she doesn't drink it, which I think was his first key of him figuring out that she was pregnant. And she did like the little tummy grab during her little spiel, which obviously then alerted him. And then it cuts off after that scene, so we don't see anything, the end of the negotiations, but apparently somewhere, something else he says, probably revolving around the future of her and Jamie's child. They need to survive. They're, has the chance to be the next heir, so let's fight together, let's do what we need to do. Also, I have my window open, so if you hear any weird noises, like the damn, what are those things called? Cicadas? I apologize. Hopefully the very soft music I put on drowns some of that out, but if not, I apologize. So, let's see what we have next. What happened after that scene? Oops, what just happened? Because I don't want to... kind of go out of order, because a lot of the stuff we see plays on itself. Okay, there's Red Keep scene. There's the Red scene. Oh, okay, then it cuts to Sansa and Arya. So basically, to kind of wrap this up, the ploys and the tricks that Littlefinger has been planting have all been seen by Bronn, yeah? A lot of this video, I feel like, is going to be me saying what happens in the episode and then just commenting on it, but I mean, that's whatever. It's a recap. It's a recap and reaction, I suppose, yeah? So anyway, cool. Maybe my favorite scene in the whole episode is the mini trial that they have going on. But anyway, Bran knows. Bran knows everything. He's seen it with his three-eyed raven foresight and whatever that's called, sight, vision, powers stuff. So he knows that he killed their aunt. He knows that he plotted to kill Jon Arryn, which is the catalyst of the entire show, if you ask me. I mean, you don't have to ask me. It's pretty much the catalyst of the entire show that we see that is in a flashback. But weird tangent. And he knows that he's been trying to turn the sisters against each other. So at some point off air, off the show, the three siblings in Winterfell come together, and I'm assuming they don't just randomly do it in the trial, but they come together and they talk about he's been trying to screw us over, so we gotta do something. Let's make it look like Arya is about to be either, I don't think they would have killed her on the spot, but let's make it look like she needs to go in the cells, the dog cage that Bolton Ramsay died in or something, some sort of situation where she's disciplined. But no, she says, you've been accused of murder and treason, I think is one of the other ones she says. I don't know what the exact line is, but blah blah blah, what do you have to say for yourself, Lord Baelish? And he's just like, what? And he pleads. We see who he really is at that time. He's a huge coward who just likes to play the game from the shadows, causing strife, causing internal affairs and stuff. And so we get some sweet justice with the cat's paw blade and Arya walking up to him as he's begging for his life, and she does like the hip, like just grab slice, If I had a knife, I would show you, but it was just like the whoosh. Pretty cool scene because he's been the cause of majority of the shit that's gone down in the show. So he finally meets his demise. I thought we were gonna lose more characters than we did in this episode because it seems like every finale has gets a a main character missing, but I think him dying was our big moment of the season because now the siblings are like united. Winterfell is a strong unit again. There's no like internal strife affair or whatever. So that's good stuff. Actually, I see the quote right there, so what I said earlier was wrong. She's talking to Arya and says, "You've been accused of blah blah blah. Do you deny it, Lord Baelish?" And that's what it is. Next scene, I think, after we see his blood gushing out and him grabbing it, and then finally dying. Finally. Just side note. I don't think, unless you're kind of like, you root for the bad guys, which, I mean, that's fun. That's fair. I don't blame you. I root for some. I like Euron. I think he's a fun guy to root for. But, I do not like Baelish. I don't like him. I don't like his character, and, because I want the good guys to win, or the guys that I like, which I can speak on later, because I have, like, a very weird top 5 or top 3 or whatever, but he is a fantastic character. He you needed someone based off the books and everything, but you needed someone to start all the problems and everything, and he did it fantastically. He's so fun to watch in action, but yet he's a fun character to hate. He is the Tom Brady of Westeros. And I lost my page again, so bear with me. I think a bunch of what I'm talking about is probably going to be out of order, just because this website's pretty dookie. But apparently, next we have Sam showing up to Winterfell, even if that's not in the right order. We'll talk on it because it's, while being a short, high emotion, low action scene, it probably is the most important scene this season, in terms of character development and not so much action, because we have Bran, who is doing his little trip out site. Sam comes in and "You're Samwell Tarly." He's like, "Oh, hi, blah blah blah, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm the Three-Eye Raven now." And then he just gives his classic Sam answer of, "Oh, I don't know what that means." And that's a good answer. I like Sam. He's a fun dude. But then you have the big convo where Bran drops the bombshell that was all but confirmed already last season, that Jon is the son of Rhaegar. Well, he breaks the news that Jon is the bastard son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark. And I watched with a bunch of people, so I kind of missed some of the dialogue. I'm gonna rewatch it after I film this. So I could not catch his name. So let me look that up real quick. It's like Aegon or something. Aegon. His real name is Aegon, which is very cool because it's a family name, and Aegon Targaryen is very. Sorry, very interesting picture just popped up on my screen, and I'll leave that to your imagination. But very important that is confirmed, actually, and not, kind of whatever. But then you have Sam say, in one of the books I have that Gilly and I were reading, we read about a maester who walked a lot of steps and took a lot of shits, and he wrote that he annulled a marriage from Elia Martell and Rhaegar Targaryen, and allowed, Lyanna and Rhaegar to marry, making Jon, or Aegon, the true best, highest claim heir to the throne in the show, in the world, in Westeros, in everywhere, the Seven Kingdoms, which is going to be very important next year, especially since we now have Jon and Dany doing their sweet, sweet, steamy business. That was a good scene. But yeah, that was a lot of the people I know who watch the show for like the violence and the action and like the major suspense moments, but I love every part of it. I love the the boring, the people are like, oh, this episode was boring. I love the background episodes too, just because story progression and all that. But yeah, so now 100%, nothing around it. Jon, Aegon, Targaryen, true heir and highest claim to the throne, which is potentially going to cause some strife next season. You could tell from season 1 or 2 that when Jon is by himself and Dany as like the big, players, that they're going to meet up. It's just good storytelling. So it finally happened, or they're gonna fall for each other, apparently. I suppose, whatever. Kind of rambling, I'm sorry. But let me read here for a minute. I know I didn't cover everything, but it looks like apparently to this review we are at the Jon and Dany relationship scene, which you knew was going to happen, especially because of the nudity thing at the beginning of the show. That's like, I saw that and I'm like, that no one is in unless Jaime and Cersei were going to do anything, no one else was in position really to have a romance scene. Plus they repeatedly emphasized them sailing together to Westeros, so it was going to happen. The one thing I did find weird was, like, I don't know what Tyrion was doing, but he was, like, standing outside a door, which I took to be theirs, or, Daenerys's. So I don't know if he heard them, or he saw Jon go in, or something. It was a really weird scene. I'm going to have to rewatch it, but I thought that was interesting. I don't think Tyrion's one to, like, be a gossip or anything, because I don't know if they're going to hide it or anything, but, Weird scene. Very weird. Did not know what to think about that. But yeah. The scene kind of just you just see her open the door and he just like walks in and it just cuts to them doing their business, and they were going at it. Yep. Yeah, they were doing it. So that's gonna have huge implications. It's gonna keep them close until they're at Winterfell. Bran's gonna break the news, or Sam's gonna break the news, and that's gonna cause some sort of reaction. Targaryens often wed relatives, brothers and sisters, aunts and nephews, whatever. There's that quote you can read from George R. Martin that talks about that, but lots of possibilities there. But I like both characters. I don't love them. They're both good characters. I hope they remain a couple, especially in a very loveless world that they have. But yes. Then before that, okay, this review is bad. Before that, we had the Dragonstone scene where they're kind of planning their movements and everything on the big map. the big table map. And so I couldn't hear a whole lot of what was going on, but I'm assuming they just made their battle plans. We'll garrison here, we'll send them here, we'll do this and that and whatever we need to do. And that's when they say the Northerners will accept you if you sail back with me and they see you with me right off the bat and not coming in later for any reason or anything. So that's good, that makes sense. Plus it sets up the romance scene, which I won't complain about. And then with that, because this thing is pretty much ends here. But anywho, we get the I think it's after that scene and before the romance scene. We see Jaime and the lieutenants, the generals, whatever you want to call them, from the Lannister army, making their plans on their floor map, their little Red Keep floor world map, which is very cool. I haven't read the books yet, so I don't know a lot of the unknown lore or anything, so I don't know if that's in the books or if it's going to be, but it's very cool. I assume they would do a lot more detail in the books on, detail on whatever. But anywho, they're making their plans, and she just walks up, asks them to leave so she may talk to her brother, and she drops the big bombshell of that half of the episode, fairly significant one, that she did everything for appearance and for a false sense of security in Jon and Dany's minds. Excuse me. And that she is not planning on helping. She wants nothing to do with them, and on the contrary, wants to scheme against them so that obviously she can rule now and in the future, regardless of what happens with the army of the dead approaching. Which Jaime does not agree with. Jaime, number one living character on my list, by the way. I'll just give you my list. Maybe I'll make a separate video or something. In short, number one used to be Stannis with, there's his flag. Good old Stannis. I loved Stannis. Favorite character. Number one was him. 1B, 1A, I don't know. They're probably the same, is Jaime. Fantastic character progression. I love the redemption stories, and he does it far better than anyone. Plus, just look at him. Just look at him down there. Just look how cute he is. Never mind, that sounds weird. Good character though. He's funny, he's witty, he's smart, he's courageous, It's a good character. So he's number two. And then you have the Hound, I'll make a separate video sometime. Or if anyone freaking cares, I'll put it, in the comments or something. I don't know. But yeah. He says, I gave them my word. I gave our brother, who we, for the time being, have reconciled with, our truce with on hold. I gave them my word that our armies and forces will help with the army of the dead approaching, the invasion. And at this point in the show, him being my favorite character alive, I was getting super worried when she started throwing out the words like treason and whatever. I don't know what else she said. That treason was the one that stuck out the most, because in any show, movie, book, 95% of the time the penalty for treason is death, and that did not sit well with me, especially with the mountain there in the background. And so, much like with Tyrion previously in the episode, the brothers, Jaime and Tyrion, say, "Are you gonna have me killed?" And rather than, beating around the bush. Is that a saying? I don't know. They go, "Are you gonna kill me? If so, get it over with. Let's do it. If you're gonna kill me, do it." And they're fully ready. They're fully expecting it. And so Tyrion, to throw back, fully accepts it, and then just walks out. She couldn't do it. She couldn't give the order for the mountain to pretty much slice him in half, which would have been what happened. And as for Jaime, they talk a lot more about their. I think they mentioned their kid. The whole thing with honor goes up. She says, "You don't really think Euron bolted to save his, his kin or whatever, his men, his people, and their ships. They're going to Essos to get the Golden Company, the sellswords that they hired." I probably should mention that earlier. But looking back on previous episodes, they get the Iron Banks, backing once the Martell gold is brought in. And so that's going to be a huge part, especially since there's been no prior, there may have been a mention or two of the Golden Company, but there's no prior footage or, airing of them. But she says they're bringing their 20,000 men, horses, and elephants, which is going to be very cool to see, because I would assume it's going to be like a ridiculously sized elephant, much like the mammoth that the White Walker, or not the White Walker, that the Giants use, the Free Folk and the Giants in that episode. So that's cool. We got a nice setup there for some very, very good action. Plus, just prior knowledge about them that I've had from, browsing the internet. They sound very, very cool. Much like how cool, like, the Second Sons are, but double that. Take the Second Sons, Dario's group from season 3 and 2 and 4, somewhere around then, and then swoop in with the Golden Company, and we got some good stuff coming. We got some very good stuff coming. About this time in the show, I think, was the Theon moment when he it was previous in the episode, but he departs to go see Yara by beating up, I think, the first mate equivalent of the crew. Kicks his ass, leaves him in the sand. I don't know if he's dead or he's just KO'd on the beach, but Theon gets his bell rung a few times, and then when I don't think the dude has a name. I think he's just generic lieutenant guy. Goes to kick him, in the groin area. Nothing happens because he doesn't have anything there. So he just takes 3 good kicks, and then he just Theon gives him the little smile, like, "What are you doing?" And then he just wails on him. So he gets the backing of his men. You probably have a good 20 people there and 3 little boats to go save Yara. So that's going to be a nice little thing on his arc for redemption. That'll be a good reunion to see. Very good reunion. Also, way back to the beginning, Jaime and Brienne's probably the reunion I disliked the most. I wanted them to have not really a romance, but more of a bromance, since they're both manly or whatever. But there's still more to come, because my favorite personal part of the episode is coming up in our discussion. But yeah, Theon is going to save his sister, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. I'm very interested to see if Elaria and Tyene, I think is her name, the 2 remaining Sand Snakes, if they're still alive. Or what about that? I thought there would have been mention of them in the little council thing, or the meeting, but there wasn't. So I'll be interested to see if they're still alive. I think I think, and I hope that they have a role to play. Like they may come back for like an important scene or something. I don't know. Maybe someone will rescue them, and then they can go back to Dorne and get their men. You know, like there's still a lot that could play out there. But yeah, let me look here real quick. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting close to the end here. But anywho, we have, after that scene with Jaime and Cersei, where she says, "Are you going to kill me? You know, give the order," or whatever. And she nods, and then the mountain like draws his sword halfway out. I thought it was over. Man. I was about to get so salty. Maybe a tear, you know? This is a show, like, maybe a tear would have fallen. Maybe. I like Jaime that much. Good character. Even better, like, actor. His acting is phenomenal. Good acting in this episode, all around. Good, facial... A lot of people criticized, like, the facial expression of a lot of people, but it was a good one. But yeah. So we have Jaime, true to his word, he just walks past the mountain. I thought once he, like, turned, I had this, like, weird conception in my head that the mountain was going to take out his big-ass sword and stab him through the back, just like Jaime did to the Mad King. I thought that would have been, like, a poetic justice way to die, but I didn't want it to happen. I thought, it could have happened, but it didn't. And I'm glad it didn't, because I love Jaime. And I at least get another year knowing he's alive. But yes. So Jaime, it didn't say where he was going, but we get that super duper cool scene of the snow falling, like in the dragon pit, and right outside on the outskirts of King's Landing with the Red Temple. Fantastic scene. It was a simple scene, but like, if I can find it, that's my new background, easily. New desktop background is the snowing King's Landing with maybe like Jaime and his little like, oh. But all you had originally was him putting on the glove, because I'm assuming he doesn't want Northerners, because I'm assuming he's heading north to say, Cersei's not true to her word and everything. Which is good. He's going to play a huge role in Season 8, and I love it. Where are we at? We're at 51 minutes, so I'll probably keep this under an hour and 15. So you got Jaime going there. He puts on his gloves and, notioning, I don't want to get killed. He's got, like, his leather on. He doesn't have his Lannister armor on. Don't know if he had Widow's Oil. I'll have to keep an eye on that when I rewatch it here shortly. But, just because heading north, closer to the enemy, Valyrian steel, it'll be interesting to see that. I hope he does. I hope he's well equipped. So he's on his way. He's on his way north. I'm assuming to meet with Tyrion, Dany, Jon. I really, really hope that he meets with Brienne on the path there or something. I don't know. Or just meets her there. And their relationship in any way you want to take that, romantic or not, can develop. Because I think just very good actors and actress there. Love when they meet. Very, very good conversation can be had. But I'm kind of a little concerned with Bronn, because he's now... He was Podrick, I guess. But no Tyrion, no Jaime. Like, he doesn't have his top two buddies. He's never going to be in a scene with Cersei directly because of their, like, off-screen relationship. I don't think they can be in scenes together or something weird like that. So I doubt they'll do that to them. I think, whatever. So I hope he scoops them up, maybe, and they go north. And that Cersei's Rain slowly crumbles beneath her. But like she said, money, gold wins wars, and now she has the bank and the Golden Company, and I'm sure there's plenty more she can do with a shit ton of money to better her chances of survival, both against Jon and Dany and the Army of the Dead. Speaking of the Army of the Dead, cuts to Tormund and Beric on the wall, and they go up, and they go out on the little here's the wall, and there's like the little thing up here, so they go out and stand on that, and I don't know what their conversations are. They're just talking, assuming about the dead or the wall or whatever. And then I don't think it's not the Night King, 'cause he's on the dragon, obviously, but you have a White Walker on horse with a big ass spear walk out of the forest, reminiscent of like the when the army 100,000 wildlings or whatever, we're gonna light the biggest fire the North has ever seen. That scene, when they slowly creep out, very good one. Anytime they do the wall horns, 3, one blast for returning Night's Watchmen, 2 for wildlings, 3 for White Walkers, and you hear the 3 horns. Man, those are good scenes. Like there's only a handful of them, but we get another one here, and that was a lot of fun to, see one of those chilling moments that we got a bunch of this episode. But yeah, that was you see them slowly creep out. You see giants. I was hoping we got to see some of those undead mammoths that I'm fairly certain are in the army, and like the big ass bears that we saw last episode that R.I.P. my boy Thoros that did him in, pretty much. Yeah, but they have a lot to play with, I think. You just think of all the animals up there, and now a dragon. I originally thought it was going to be like not being able to fly, just because you see how many holes were in its wings and stuff, and he was, decaying a little bit, it looked like. But my goodness, that scene was cool when he just swooped on by and laid into the wall, and on top of the wall, and around the wall and everything. But the army, saying like and a lot, I apologize. Last episode, we saw his army surround, the Suicide Squad of sorts, and I thought that was like it. I thought that was it surrounding them and then being torched by dragons, but not the case, because take what you see or saw last episode and multiply it probably by about 40. I'm guessing. From what I saw, there was just a ridiculous amount of dead. I think earlier in the episode they say 100,000 at least, or Jon says that, I believe. It looked a hell of a lot more than that. I know that's a large number, and I don't know, maybe I saw things differently, but my goodness, when they started feeding through the broken down wall from Viserion's dragon white that he made a hole, and they started feeding in, and you see giants, and you see, half, barely any skin, bone zombies, and then newly fresh, still, damn near human whites. Oh, it was a good episode. It was a good scene, good episode. But yeah, so they're walking through. That was a good episode, my goodness. I'm very excited to watch that again. Sorry, I'm kind of distracting myself. But yeah, apparently, I think the closest main city, not, little villages, is Winterfell. And you have a bunch of the main characters going there right now. Pretty much, if you're not, I don't know if you can consider Bronn and Podrick main characters. I kind of do, kind of don't. Him too, Cersei, Euron, Yara, Theon. I don't know if we ever see Daario again. It'll be interesting. You know? I don't know. But you have that group, you know, staying south of Winterfell for the time being. And then you have pretty much everyone else in Winterfell or at the wall if you're Beric and Tormund, who may have died. Never saw on film or on screen that they die. And I doubt they did, because you would have seen it and it would have made lots of reactions everywhere on the internet. But it's like one of those Jamie things where it's up to interpretation. I don't know. But yeah, isn't that? I think that's the end of the episode with the wall coming down, and they slowly creep on in. Man, I'm looking at these screenshots and they're crazy. That blue fire was something else, because I was talking with my friends and we're like, oh, do you think it'll be an ice dragon? Do you think it'll be normal fire? Blue fire, which I don't know how much sense that makes, but at the same time, he has blue eyes. Maybe his blood is blue, maybe his blood is ice, you know, his eye, I don't, you know, whatever. But yeah, I'm thinking, like, I know the YouTube channel is small, but I love talking about this stuff, even if it's to myself and the few who watch it. Thank you, by the way. But I'm thinking about making, now that the season's over, you know, randomly some, my top characters, who I think I'm top fighter. I mean, there's hundreds and maybe thousands of those videos already plastered on the internet. But it's so much fun to talk about, I might do it anyway. And if no one ever sees it, I'll still have fun recording it. So I may make those, you know. I've been flirting with the idea of going to Hobby Lobby and getting my own, materials to make a Night's Watch, you know, cape. And then like a Stark leather little thing. I'm trying to justify it because I would, you know, wear it for the stream. I would make it on the stream if I went, you know, Halloween or something. But I could just have some, like, you know, I don't know if it'd be worth it. That's the type of thing I'm thinking. But it would be a hell of a lot of fun to make, and, you know, kind of just fun to have. Like, I like these banners, man. I love collecting these banners. It's, you know, a lot of fun. But if that interests anybody, you know, let me know. If you want to see videos about, like, there's a bunch of people we don't know about who are off screen for various reasons, like Ghost. Where the hell has Ghost been? Dario, I mentioned him. Ilan Payne, I know his actor had like a very serious, like, near fatal bout with cancer that he beat. But I would have thought that they would have, like, addressed him so he could potentially come back. I could do a video about the Golden Company, you know, just like these talking videos. These ones would probably have some more research and facts to support them, but I'm not a whiz with editing, so I don't know. Maybe I should just stick to streaming. But if any of that interests you, anything, any ideas, any comments on this season, on this episode, feel free to drop them down below. I'll read them. You know, I'll read them, I'll talk about them. Here's some notes that the Hibbert guy had. Oh yeah, this guy mentions, I think I touched on it earlier, the Dorne army that never got picked up. That's probably 20,000 good men. With no leader, really. Because both of their leaders are either dead or in the dungeon, the Red Keep cells. So I don't know who is commanding them. I don't, because the prince died. Oberyn's dead. Their son died. I don't really. Prince Doran, I think. He's dead. yeah, I don't know. That's a story they could play with if they wanted to. Um, Next season, 6 episodes. They should all be well over an hour, probably close to an hour and a half. I'm hoping we get a couple that are just like super chock full of, extra content. Like even the content that's not worthy of being on screen, that's just added filler that doesn't play anything with like the on film or on show stuff, just throw it in there. I love this show and lore so much. I'm gonna start reading the books. Could always make videos with that. If you're still watching for last episode, this last couple minutes is gonna be just random thoughts, random BS that I spew, ideas I have for YouTube and Twitch. If you haven't subscribed or followed for either of those, feel free to do so. I don't do this for like income, obviously. That would be stupid. But I really do like doing it. I like talking to people about my passions, video games and Game of Thrones and all that jazz. So, yeah. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't think we have much more to talk about, other than some videos I could make. But yeah, let me know if you have requests for anything at all, or you just want to say hey. Stop by Twitch stream, leave some comments on YouTube. So I got some. We skipped a bunch of episodes. We skipped one, and then we did a podcast for 2 and 3. We're like, yo, we could do this every week. It'll be a lot of fun. But then things just got really busy. But I really do like recording this stuff. If I was better with editing and software, I would probably make more videos. But it's a lot of work, which is why I mostly stick to streaming. But yeah, better late than never, I suppose. Even if not a whole lot of people watch, I still I like recording this stuff. So I'm rambling. I've said maybe the last 10 minutes of content multiple times, but yeah, please leave a comment, leave a like. Anything at all helps. I like interacting with y'all and everything, so I think I'm gonna end it here. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, let me know. Let me know what you want to see next season. Let me know what you want to see from my YouTube, from my Twitch, from anything at all. Man, 1 year without Game of Thrones, that's gonna be rough. I'll probably rewatch it multiple times in between then, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna bounce. Should probably look at what I have to do for class tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon.